Hey, what's up, everybody? It's No on the Go. And no, this is not a reaction video. As you guys can tell in the title, this is a story time video. And I want to start off this video by saying that I am extremely, extremely a high believer in like ghosts and the paranormal. I feel like there are a lot of fake videos out there, and I feel like there are a lot of fake situations that have been played out. But at the same time, I don't think that those spirits and ghosts don't exist, if that makes any sense. Now, let me just give you guys a little bit of background for this. Now, this is as you can tell in the title, a pizza delivery story. I used to be a pizza delivery boy, driver, guy, thing, and it was for Domino's Pizza. I don't mind giving out the name of the company because none of the company did anything wrong. I'm not going to say where the company was or anything like that, but I was delivering pizza. And another thing to let you guys know is when I showed up at this place to work, my first day of work, well, my first week of work, I instantly realized something. And the thing that I instantly realized is I was the only black guy there. I was the only black person there, now that I think about it. Not just only black guy, only black person who was working at that store at the time. And it stayed that way for almost a year. Almost a year, it stayed that way. So keeping that in mind and keeping in mind how black people, you can miss us, not miss me, you can miss us with that whole paranormal crap. It's 11 o'clock, around 11 o'clock, about 10:58, some shit like that. And we close or we stop delivering at 11. So I'm sitting here like expecting not to take any more deliveries. I already had a pretty off-putting day. Didn't want to deal with anything else. It's late at night. I have to close anyway. And in this particular store, a lot of times we don't even be leaving until like 3 in the freaking morning. Can you imagine closing officially at 12 and not leaving until 3 in the morning for a pizza store? And this is like a rundown Domino's. Like, I don't, this Domino's attracted the sketchiest and most crooked looking people I've ever seen in my life. I promise you. So we're there, and I see this delivery pop up, and I'm like, well, they shit out of luck. That's what I say. Manager says, go on and take it. Now, I didn't like this dude. I didn't like that manager in particular. We had a lot of problems. I didn't like him. Let's just say his name was Josh. Didn't like Josh. Hated him. Completely. We had too many disagreements. Now, Josh being a dick, he sent me out. It's 10:58. Why the hell should I leave if it's 10:58? And I've been told since I got there that deliveries will stop at like 11. Because it's not the weekend. This is like a Monday or a Tuesday. Stop at 11. I think weekends we stop at 12. So I said, you know what, screw it. I go. Now, the place that I was delivering to was a city over. Usually we wouldn't deliver so far, but that city did not have a Domino's yet. So with that being said, I had to deliver there. So I said, you know what, screw it. It's an extra tip, why not? I'm driving there, driving on this road. I come up on this. It wasn't necessarily a dirt road. It was just one of those narrow roads that just have trees, just nothing but trees and woods on both sides. So driving down the road, I come up to this giant ass gate. I mean, this gate was huge. And the gate was open, obviously, but it was just the fact that it was just that big that I was like, okay, I must be delivering to a mansion. I'm going to get a really big tip. So I drive in, and the shrubs were blocking my view. But as soon as I drove past the shrubs, I realized something. I had delivered, or I was delivering to a cemetery. And a lot of you guys don't think that, a lot of you guys are probably saying this like this ain't true. I delivered to a cemetery. I drove in there, and all I saw was tombstones as far as the eye could see. And I'm sitting here like, why the hell am I even doing this? I was contemplating turning around, just flat out just doing a complete U-turn in the middle of the cemetery. It's a narrow road that I'm driving on through the cemetery. So I'm driving, doing like 5 miles an hour, maybe even less than that, because I'm trying not to awake the dead, basically. I'm trying to make sure I don't run over no tombstones, nothing like that. Because if I do, my paranormal like levels are gonna go from here to all the way to here. They'll need to be up there. So I'm driving along, and one thing I hate about cemeteries, there's always fog in cemeteries. At night, there's always fog in cemeteries, and it doesn't make any sense that fog is in cemeteries all the time and only in cemeteries and nowhere else. That in itself makes me feel scared. It's like being in the middle of the Michael Jackson Thriller video as a pizza delivery guy. Now, even though I always kept a knife or something like that on me, despite my job telling me not to, because you're not going to sit there and tell me that I'm going to go to these people's houses and you tell me right off the jump. They tell you right off the jump. Most pizza places will tell you right off the jump that pizza delivery drivers have more of a chance of getting robbed than the store does, which is true. So you're going to tell me I have a chance of getting robbed and I'm not going to have a weapon? Hell no, I'm going to have something. So I was over there driving, and even though I had that knife on me, I did not feel safe. That's the thing, I did not feel safe. So I'm looking around, you know, got my freaking high beams on because I didn't feel like running over anything, like I said. Looking around, all around. So I look out the corner of my eye. And before I say this, I know that sometimes cemeteries have like grave keepers and night keepers or whatever those people are called. But he didn't look like one, or whatever it was didn't look like one, and I couldn't tell what it was. And in my mind, I was looking at a ghost right there. So what happened was I looked to my right, see nothing there. As soon as I look to my left, I see this tall looking dude. I don't know if he was standing on something, but he looked like he was 7 feet tall. I swear. And I drive by, and he's not like right there at my car. He's like at least maybe like 10, 15 yards away. But as soon as I look at him, I see him turn and look at me. Or at least he turns in my direction. All I see is a dark silhouette. That scares me because there are lights in this cemetery, and even though there wasn't a light directly on him, you would think that I'd see some kind of detail in his face, his shirt, to at least tell what direction he's facing. But in my mind, he faced my way, which was a problem. So he's facing my way, and it looked like he was starting to walk towards me type shit. So I'm sitting there like, okay, no. And I immediately panicked because I'm already in a cemetery. When it comes to ghosts and deep water, I'm a little bitch. So I went from 5 miles to about close to 25 miles in the cemetery. I really did. Like, I didn't care what I ran over. I just cared that I got out of there. So I'm drive up. I get to the house. I got a GPS on my phone. I get to the house. It was like this, kind of like a trailer, but at the same time, not a trailer. I don't know what the heck I should call it. And I get up there, knock on the door. I knock on the door, but I immediately go back into my car because I didn't like the feeling of being out there. So I knock on the door, go in my car. As soon as the lady opens the door, I get out my car, or like wave out the car because I already had the Domino's pizza thing on top of my car, so I know she didn't think I was like somebody crazy. And I get out the car, run up there real quick, and I could tell the lady knew I was nervous. And I give her the pizza and everything. And I ask her a legitimate question because my thing is, she stays inside the cemetery. I don't know how, but there was no gate surrounding the cemetery besides that big gate that was in front of it, but that gate doesn't go along the cemetery. It's just a gate for the entrance. So there was no gate around the cemetery. This lady stays like either in the cemetery or like right behind the cemetery lines. But I just know that there were still graves near her house. So I'm sitting here like, okay, you basically live in a cemetery. So I asked her, I was like, does it bother you or your family to live like in a cemetery? Is it like scary or anything? So she then tells me that she's like, yeah, it bothered me and the children at first. And immediately as soon as she said children, I'm like, why would children even be here? Why is this an area where you have children here? But I didn't say that to her face. I'm not going to be questioning nobody parenting and getting slapped. So she says, yeah, it bothers me and the children. And it was my husband's idea. And yes, sometimes we hear things, maybe see things at night, but we kind of got used to it. And I'm sitting here And I'm waiting for her to be like bullshitting with me, like start laughing. But she looks at me and she was apparently dead serious. So I give her the pizza. I say, thank you for your time. And then I just leave. She says, hold up, let me give you a tip. I said I didn't want the tip. I didn't need the tip. And that's how you know it's a problem, because I love money itself. So I said, I don't want the tip. I don't need the tip. I need to go back to work. I'm kind of creeped out here. That's what I told the lady. I told her I told her I was kind of creeped out, didn't like being here, so I drove off. Again, doing about 20 to 25 miles down the same road I came into. And that was a problem for me. I got back to the store and immediately told my boss, I hate you. Because he's been there, he had already been there like a year to a year and a half already. That lady was a returning customer. It says, it lets you know when the customer is a new customer or not. She was a turning delivery customer. So I knew that some way, somehow, he knew what that place was. And he sent me there anyway. The only black guy in the store. The wrong person to send there. And I just had a problem. I had a serious problem. I didn't clean up anything that night. I really didn't. I told him that I was going to do the dishes, and that was all I was going to do. And it took me forever to do those dishes because nobody cleans them in the middle of the day, which is how it usually goes, apparently. But that is it for this story time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I got a lot of other pizza delivery stories that I have, and even stories about injuries and stuff that you guys can't necessarily see. You know, I got a scar right here, I got a scar on my head, got broken arms. I got all types of stories I can let you guys know of. So I'm going to start a story time thing. I really do hope you guys like my story times. Hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I do plan on getting a lot of these animated. I just need to find an animator who is really good, enjoys animating and everything. Got a couple people on the list. I just don't know if they'll do it. I don't know how much it's going to cost me. I'm going to see you guys next time in the next video, and peace.